On the count of three, I'd like everybody to please close their eyes. 1, 2, 3. And now picture your first day of middle school. The nervous energy, the chatter, the smell of new books. Remember who you were and what you dreamed of becoming. Okay, now open your eyes. Well, the day I started my middle school journey, per tradition, the teacher decided to ask everybody 3 questions as an icebreaker. What is your name? What are your hobbies? And what do you want to be when you're older? But as an anxious 11-year-old, I had rehearsed answers for every possible question the teacher might ask, except that last one, because no one warned me I was about to be asked to plan my entire life, and all before lunch? Well, when it was my turn, I said, "My name is Fatma. I love playing throwball, and I want to be..." Silence. 5 seconds, and then laughter. My heart sank, not just from embarrassment, but from realizing I didn't have an answer. Not because I was unambitious, not because I didn't care, but because at 11 years old, my biggest life concern was whether my pencil case looked cool enough. At that moment, I felt unsure and oddly disappointed in myself. But I made a promise to give myself time and space to figure out who I really wanted to be. Fast forward, it's February 7th, 2026, and I'm still on my exploration journey, but with the headlights on. Over the past 4 years, I've joined the debate club, briefly worked for the school newspaper, tried different sports, volunteered for various causes. Basically, I've been collecting hobbies just like free trial subscriptions. Yet, as my high school journey nears its end, I'm still not entirely sure what I want to do. But you know what? That's why I'm here today. I'm here today to tell you that that is more than okay. No, it doesn't mean I'm running slower than others or that I'm just drifting through life. Matter of fact, to those who knew exactly what they wanted to be at 15 years old, please raise your hands. To those who raised their hands, that's amazing. Thanks for bursting my bubble. And to all those who didn't, welcome. We're officially sailing on the same boat. It's a little rocky, but I assure you the view is great. However, the reality is we're not all on the same path, nor the same timeline. So why do we expect our lives to play out like everybody else's? But I understand it can become a little unsettling, especially when everyone around you has a 5-year plan, a backup plan, and a backup for the backup plan? But I also believe that when we dash for the finish line, or in this case, choose a path just for the sake of having a plan, we make impulsive, poorly planned, and hasty decisions that we end up regretting for the rest of our lives. So here's what I want to say to all the parents out there. Encourage your child to join sports in school, to participate in extracurricular activities, and yes, to go to those competitions that take up the entire weekend. But at the same time, don't set a deadline for their ambitions. For a child to succeed, they need to explore new things. Let me tell you the story of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I'm sure we all know who he is. But before the movies, before the red carpets, before those billion-dollar box office numbers, he was just another kid with a dream, but a lot of uncertainty. He didn't start off as The Rock. He started off as a football player. And not just as an amateur. He trained for it, committed to it, and believed in it. Until, deep down, it didn't sit right. And that path slowly fell apart. He was confused and unsure of himself. But that only fueled his search. He then stepped into professional wrestling, a completely different world, one that many people didn't take seriously at the time. And he had to start from scratch. New skills, new critics, new expectations. And he wasn't instantly famous, and he wasn't instantly successful. And on top of all of that, it still never felt right. And so, he took a leap of faith with acting. And then, in 2001, 7 years later, he landed his first major film role. That was 7 years of trying, 7 years of uncertainty, 7 years of not knowing if what he was doing would actually lead anywhere. And today, he's one of the most successful and recognized celebrities in the world. He was never behind, he was just in the making. Now, bear with me, this might sound a little arrogant, but I'm about to compare myself to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Not in muscles, obviously, but just in the way that our paths weren't exactly straight. Three versions of himself, and somehow, that's how I've been figuring things out too. First, I wanted to be a detective. Not because I had this deep-rooted calling, but because I watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine and thought, I could do that. But when someone explains something to me, I say, huh? About 5 times before it finally registers. And then, naturally, came my suits phase. I was convinced I wanted to be a lawyer, walking into court, delivering dramatic arguments, winning cases with confidence alone, just like Harvey Specter. Even though, when someone says something complicated to me, I just nod confidently and hope it makes sense later. And then, I started studying chemistry, and for a while, it actually stuck. Until I started organic chemistry, saw a reagent I didn't recognize, and realized I was about to start guessing instead of thinking. But you know what? None of those phases were a waste. They stemmed from confusion but led to exploration. Just like I'm not lost, I'm learning what fits and what doesn't. I'm sure we've all heard the phrase, curiosity killed the cat. And it's usually meant as a warning, as if asking questions, trying new things, changing your mind is dangerous. But in today's world, curiosity won't kill the cat. Playing it safe will. Staying in a box that never fits, choosing the approved idea just to avoid side eyes at family gatherings, that is what slowly kills your spirit. The full quote actually ends with, curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back. And that part's important, because curiosity is the reason people discover what they love, pivot when things aren't working, and build lives they don't secretly resent. So if being confused leads you to exploring, still questioning, still changing your mind, then good. That doesn't make you reckless, it makes you honest. Because the real danger isn't curiosity. The real danger because the real danger isn't confusion, it's lack of curiosity. The real danger is waking up one day and realizing you are responsible, on time, and approved, but are still deeply unhappy. So ask the questions. Stay curious, take the detours. After all, cats have 9 lives, but you only get one. So you might as well use it properly. Thank you.